why Amish bread tastes better, and how you can make it too. There's something about Amish bread. The moment you tear off a warm, fluffy piece, you just know it's richer, softer, somehow more real. Unlike the mass-produced loaves that sit on grocery store shelf for weeks, this bread feels alive. Every bite carries something deeper, a taste of tradition, a touch of history, a reminder of a time when food was made with patience, not machines. But what makes it so different? Why does Amish bread taste better? It's not just about flour and water. It's about the way it's made, the hands that knead it, the time it's given to rise, the small, invisible details that change everything. And once you understand those secrets, you can make it too. Let's break it down. 1. The ingredients, nothing fake, nothing rushed. Step into an Amish kitchen. You won't find bleached flour or pre-packaged mixes. No artificial flavors. No preservatives. Just real, simple ingredients. Freshly milled wheat. Eggs straight from the hen house. Creamy, raw milk. Honey that still smells like wildflowers. Butter churned that morning. Everything is as pure as it gets. That makes a difference. Ever noticed how store-bought bread lasts for weeks? That's because it's pumped full of chemicals. But those preservatives do more than just extend shelf life. They strip away the soul of the bread. They rob it of its natural richness. Amish bread doesn't have that problem. It's made to be eaten fresh, not sit in plastic for weeks. And that's just the start. 2. The process slow, intentional, hands-on. Amish bread isn't rushed. It's never about speed. It's about doing things right. First, the kneading. Machines don't do the work here. Hands do. Flour dusts the wooden counter. The dough is stretched, folded, pressed again. Kneading develops gluten naturally. It gives the bread that perfect chew, that satisfying bite. Then the rising. No shortcuts. No instant yeast that forces the dough to puff up in an hour. The Amish let their dough sit. Hours pass. The yeast works slowly, creating air pockets, building flavor. This isn't just about getting it to rise. It's about giving the bread depth, character. Finally, the baking. Some Amish families still use wood-fired ovens. The heat isn't perfectly even. The crust doesn't come out identical every time. But that's the beauty of it. Every loaf has its own personality. A crisp golden edge here. A soft, warm center there. It's real. The result? Bread that tastes like something. Not just filler for a sandwich, but meal on its own. 3. The secret of starters, a taste of the past. Some Amish families don't use store-bought yeast at all. They use something older. Something passed down through generations. A living, breathing sourdough starter. It's like a piece of history kept alive in a jar, fed with flour and water, bubbling with wild yeast. This is where the real magic happens. A good starter doesn't just make bread rise. It transforms it. The fermentation adds layers of flavor, a slight tang, a richer texture, a deeper complexity that no instant yeast can ever create. Some starters have been alive for decades. Imagine that. The bread you eat today carrying the same living culture that fed a family 50 years ago. You can't fake that kind of tradition. For the environment, where and how it's made matters. Ever wondered why homemade bread always tastes different than store-bought? It's not just the ingredients. It's the environment. Amish kitchens aren't factories. There's no conveyor belt, no sterile, climate-controlled settings. Instead, there's the smell of wood smoke, the warmth of a cast-iron stove, the sound of hands working, kneading, shaping. Seasons affect the bread. A humid summer makes the dough softer. A crisp winter slows the rise. No two loaves are exactly alike. And that's the beauty of it. Even the ovens play a role. Some Amish bakers still use traditional wood-burning stoves. The flames give the crust a slight smokiness. The heat isn't perfectly even, creating little variations in texture. Small imperfections. But imperfections make food real. Industrial bread? It's the opposite. Every loaf, exactly the same. Same texture. Same taste. Sterile. Lifeless. That's what happens when bread is treated like a product instead of food. Amish bread is different. It breathes. It changes. It has a story in every bite. 5. The most important ingredient, time and care. This is the real secret. The thing that changes everything. Amish bread is made with patience, with care, with a sense of purpose. It's not just about getting a loaf on the table. It's about doing it the right way, no matter how long it takes. They don't cut corners. They don't speed through the steps. They let the yeast work at its own pace. They shape each loaf by hand. They bake with intention, not just habit. And that changes the taste. You can feel it when you eat it. Compare that to mass-produced bread, made by machines, pushed through molds, pumped full of chemicals so it can sit on a shelf for weeks. It's efficient, but it's not real. Amish bread? It's real. It's made for the table, not the factory. It's made to be shared, not just sold. That's why it tastes better. How you can make it at home. The good news? You don't have to be Amish to make bread like this. You just have to slow down. Start with the best ingredients you can find. Fresh eggs, real butter, raw honey, unbleached flour. Knead by hand. Feel the dough. Work it until it's just right. Let it rise naturally. Don't rush it. Give the yeast time to do its job. Bake with care. Don't just watch the clock. Watch the bread. Smell it. Listen to the crust as it forms. And most importantly, make it with love. Because that's the real difference between Amish bread and everything else. It's not just what's in it. It's how it's made. And that's something anyone can do.